to cast a vote through internet. How do they know that nagvo-vote na yung foreigner sa bansa nila? How do they know?
Just like in China, Madam Chair, Your Honor, or in
How do they know that? How do they know na pag-access ko ng email ko, I'm already voting?
kasi po, Madam Chair, Your Honor, because it's online, kaya they can control.
Yung mga China siguro may firewall.
Okay.
But I do not know sa iba, ganun.
Meron din po, Madam Chair. China and Israel, Madam Chair.
Firewall. So parang decision na lang ng COMELEC yan na we would rather not have internet voting because of that technological barriers.
Marami kasi nagtatanong na OFW, paano daw yung mga internet voting? Kasi kinakabahan sila, sino ang eligible, kailan ba sila? Kasi di ba marami kang modes para sa overseas voting. May yung usual, meron pang mail, meron pang internet, tama ba yun? Parang kinatatakutan ng ating OFW to eh.
No, Madam Chair, before I will give the floor to the ITD director, there are certain countries that does not allow internet voting, such as China, such as Russia, such as Israel. Yan po yung we have a list of countries. In these countries po, instead of internet voting, we are going to use the machines that we have that will be supplied to us by Miru. In fact, we are proposing, dahil dalawa po kasi yung features ng machine eh. Isang DRE at saka OMR, which can be turned off, one can be turned off so that the other one can be used. So sa abroad po, we are going to use the DRE touchscreen system, but in the Philippines, we're going to use the OMR technology. And for purposes, Madam Chair, of explaining your security, that's really the number one consideration, security of the internet voting. May I respectfully request our Director of Information Technology.
Madam Chair, para lang hindi ako doon mag-react lang ako sa sinabi ni Chairman. Alam niyo sa usapan parati, it's the paper ballot which is the last backup. And yet sa abroad gusto niyo ganun. Why? I mean,
we have no decision yet, Madam Chair, Your Honor. I just expressed the initial sentiment, but in the event later on that the Commission will proceed with internet voting, we can, and then doon po sa lugar na walang hindi pa gagamit ng internet, we can proceed with still the ballot po. Total naman po.
okay, sige po.
Yes, Madam Chair. Total naman po yung nung mag-list po kami dito sa Miru, yung presyo niyang napakababa po, dalawang system po eh, OMR and DRE.
Mr. Ken, in all honesty, when the COMELEC ordered the machines with two features, scanning and touchscreen, did it make the machine more expensive?
Of course, sir, because the extra components for the touch screen, for the DRE, and the scanning type, we have to combine them.
Thank you for verifying our common sense. Yeah? So by requiring the two features, we made the machines more expensive. Tama. Okay, and yet COMELEC is yet to decide whether it will permanently turn off one feature because magpe-paper-based na rin kayo even sa abroad. But why did we start from the very start ng specs natin? Mas mahal na kaagad. We chose machines na mas mahal na kaagad, Madam Chair. Let's allow
yes, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Actually po, Madam Chair, nakatipid yung COMELEC ng 800 million po eh. Doon sa bid price ng offer ng Miru, 800 million pesos. In fact, our estimate was that 155,000 per machine dapat. Lumalabas po 149,000 pesos per machine.
With the answer of Mr. Ken, which I premise with in all honesty, and we are glad that the South Koreans are honest people, mas malaki sana ang natipid natin.
Sir, if I may,
With that answer from Mr. Ken.
if I may answer, it was like extra cost for us, but we had to lower our price to meet the budget here. So definitely, there's an extra component, so it brings our cost up. But for our provisional prices, we definitely have to lower it to meet the budget, sir.
Therefore, common sense tells us that if without that extra cost, you could still lower your price a bit more to the extent of that extra cost, Mr. Ken. I mean, we're just using common sense here. But thank you for your honesty. I mean, that's the correct answer I anticipated, Madam Chair. So, sana pag-isipan po ng COMELEC yun kasi parating pinag-uusapan dito like dalawang backup and then the third backup, it's always the last backup is the paper ballot. Parating yun parating ulit-ulit. Hindi lang sa hearing na to, even before, ganun naman talaga eh. And yet the plan is to dispense with the paper ballot in the overseas. Kaya back to the question, why? I mean, may clamor ba? Nag-clamor ba ang ating OFW? Gusto nila touchscreen? Ayaw nila ng scanner?
Wala naman po, Madam Chair. But kung makukuha naman namin na mababa ang na presyo, kasi nga po binabaan naman po ng Miru in all fairness sa kanila na dalawang feature, why not? So that we will have that option. But base po kasi sa offer talaga nila, Madam Chair, try to imagine, bundled po kasi ito eh, bundled. Kasama yung ballot boxes, kasama ang balota, kasama and the printing of the ballots.
But at any rate, Madam Chair, no, this is a one-time lease of machines. Klarong-klaro yun. If you decide not to use the DRE, what was the point? So, and then with the extra cost be volunteered by our South Korean friends. I mean, anyway, the decision has been made. Ako lang po yung napakamot lang talaga ng ulo when I first heard yung decision ninyo. Saan galing yun? Sabihin, saan galing yung idea na yun? There's no clamor, there's nothing. Saan galing? But at any rate, we have to live with the decision of the COMELEC and they also have to live with their own decisions, Madam Chair. Sige po.
Yes, anything you'd like to say, Director Florita? Just quickly, tungkol sa internet voting, kasi kinakabahan nga yung mga OFW natin.
Good afternoon po, Madam Chairman and Senator Coc. Based on the terms of reference po, the requirement of the overseas online voting system is that each voter po will have to re-register for online voting. So hindi po porke registered voters na sila on COMELEC, ma-avail na nila agad yung registration. So there will be a pre-registration from January until on election day, pwede po sila mag-register. So during registration, they have to provide yung Siemens book or yung passport nila, and then the system should be able to capture yung mga information on the passbook or Siemens book, and then that will be the security measure in order for them to vote on election day. The voting po will be the same as the DRE, that they have to touch yung screen, and then after voting they will also receive yung VVPAT, pero hindi po nila pwede siguro nilang mapicturean, but it will be in the system and will be stored doon po sa server. So immediately po after ng election, on the last day of election, the system po will generate election returns and will be transmitted to the CCS of the Miru and for consolidation.
Okay,
Internet voting na they need to go somewhere? They need to be physically somewhere?
No,
What
no
is
po. They can use their phone,
okay.
but as part of the terms of reference, if they don't have the phone po, they can go to embassy. May mga laptop po
Hindi ba-
doon.
Physical na yun eh. So why make it
In
they
option
can
lang po
vote
yun.
from their place of work or wherever
Yes
they
po.
happen to be?
Yes po, they can vote through their phone.
Why do
Or
they have to go pa to the embassy?
if in case po wala silang phone and napadalaw sila sa embassy, may kiosk lang pong i-set
for
up
internet
doon.
voting?
For the internet voting.
At the same time, that general area has a machine.
One laptop lang po for each post.
For the internet voting nga.
For the
But
internet
for the
voting.
physical voting, meron pang physical voting? Ano ba
Wala
ito?
No.
You will designate countries totally internet voting siya? Wala siyang machine? So, you will,
Country yan.
paano yun? Paano yun? Sabi nyo, you need to re-register. You will force the
Yeah, because
OFWs to re-register in the chosen country?
Because the OFWs are very confused. Saan sila sakop? Kasali ba sila dun sa internet voting o dun sa paper ballot? Parang litong-lito na
If
lahat.
it's a per country approach, they're forcing the OFWs to re-register kasi ang unang salita ni Ma'am, they have to re-register, pre or re?
Yeah, they have to pre-register.
Pre-register, it's just like, but yes, still, kailangan pa rin nila ng action. Kailangan pa rin ng action from the voter. So if you choose whole countries, force ang mga OFWs in that country to so-called pre-register, which is actually re-register. Diba? The pre-registration is just like filling up a voter's ano rin.
You can
Enrolling,
pre-register
enrolling.
online.
yes po. Part of the online voting system is the enrollment for the voting, internet voting.
De,
We can use their
ang
phone.
mas litong-lito na talaga rito ay yung mga seaman. Yung
Pag
mga
hindi-
seaman, kapag nagpalaot, paano ba sila? Sakop rin sila nito? Online pre-registration, on board.
Yes po. Using their phones.
And then because they belong to how come they are considered to have belonged to the country where internet voting is the requirement? Which is that country? Panabot.
Ito lang ang credentials niya. 400 million. 400 million.
Just for 400 million.
We have estimated the contract to be worth 400 million even though we have not yet chosen the countries. Kaya nga, I mean, hindi dependent yung cost in the area covered?
We already determined, Madam Chair, the countries where we are going to conduct internet voting, but there are about 8 countries where we cannot conduct. Of the 92 posts abroad, we have only about 8 countries where we cannot conduct internet voting.
So what's the plan? So 92 minus 8, yung 84 will have internet voting? That's the plan?
Yes, Madam Chair, Your Honor.
So magiging general rule na ng overseas voting is internet voting?
Hopefully, Madam Chair, yes. Sure.
If that's the case, Madam Chair, I think we need the law to authorize this. That has been my position from the very start, Madam Chair.
Yes, we're aware of that, and the chairman, of course, asserts the broad rule-making power of the commission. But this has been a cause for great alarm among our OFWs, particularly the sea-based, kasi nalilito sila kung alin bayan sila sakop at paano sila boboto.
Vote anywhere po kasi, Madam Chair, pagka seafarers. And we are going to intensify our campaign immediately after just in case makakapag-award po kami ng contract kasi po doon namin pa finalize ang lahat. But we will definitely intensify, and our hope is really to announce to our overseas Filipinos, Madam Chair, if I may, during the 2022 election, we have only 1.697 million Filipinos registered. And of the 1.697, 40.59% voted, the highest in our history. So after poll 1, we have almost 600,000 delisted because of failure to vote in 2 consecutive elections. So 1 million na lang po yun natin. And hope po namin by announcing the internet voting and proceeding with internet voting, we are hoping that sana po until September 30 makapagpataas tayo ng ating registration.
Well, that's the hope. But di ba, kapag may internet voting, doon sa bansang yon, ibig sabihin wala ng mail or personal voting. Paano yung mga lugar kung saan talaga dumadayo yung mga OFW natin sa konsulado, sa embassy, hindi na sila makakaboto doon. Baka mabawasan na naman.
No, Madam Chair, we're still going to put, kaya po may kiosk kami nalalagay pa rin.
So you mean to say, all three types of voting will be available in certain countries: personal, mail, and internet. Whereas in other countries, purely internet or purely personal?
Internet,
Paano ito?
internet, Madam Chair, and personal, especially kapag tama po, napunta sa embassy, gustong dun bumoto using the kiosk. We're going, because in the 110,000 machines that we're going to list to Miru, mga 300 po na machines doon ang kakailanganin namin for lumalagay sa mga embassies or consulate, and together with, of course, the internet voting.
Oh,
Minority Leader,
akala ko
mukhang
kasi pagka internet voting, it's a whole country approach. So,
Yes, Madam Chair, Your Honor,
what's
yes.
the purpose of a machine?
Kasi nga po, as mentioned by the Honorable Chairperson, in the event that the voter, the Filipino overseas voter, do not want to use his cell phone or iPad or laptops, then there's always a kiosk in the
Yes.
embassy.
To cast the vote through internet voting.
Through internet, yes.
That's a laptop.
Yes.
That's not a Miro machine.
Yes.
longer personal voting. That's still internet voting.
Yes.
Napunta ka
Yes,
sa
Madam
embassy.
Chair. That's internet voting.
But what are those 300 Miro machines? Are those laptops?
Because we have 17 countries, Madam Chair, and Your Honor, that will not allow. I correct myself. It's not 8. It's 17. It's 17 countries that does not allow internet voting.
When we say does not allow, Madam Chair, if I may,
Go ahead.
when we say does not allow, their law does not allow their citizens to
Because-
vote through internet.
There is a restriction, Madam Chair, Your
They
Honor.
do not allow anybody, foreigners, to cast a vote through internet. How do they know that nagvo-vote na yung foreigner sa bansa nila? How do they know?
Just like in China, Madam Chair, Your Honor, or in
How do they know that? How do they know na pag-access ko ng email ko, I'm already voting?
kasi po, Madam Chair, Your Honor, because it's online, kaya they can control.
Na yung mga China siguro may firewall.
Okay.
But I do not know sa iba, ganun. may
Meron din po,
firewall.
Madam Chair. China and Israel, Madam Chair.
Firewall. So parang decision na lang ng COMELEC yan na we would rather not have internet voting because of that technological barriers.
Consultation with the Department of Foreign Affairs, Madam Chair.
Decision
Your
na
Honor.
lang ninyo yun. It's not because their law prohibits a foreigner guest from using the internet to cast a vote. Hindi ba? Tama po ba yan?
Yes, Madam Chair, because of
Baka-
Your Honor,
Baka yun
because
po siguro it's not prohibited. It's sa decision na lang talaga ng COMELEC na sa 17. Pero medyo malabo pa rin, Madam Chair, kasi I do not know if it's this by country approach, hindi ko naintindihan eh. And then the re-registration, re-registration.
enrollment.
Enrollment,
Madam Chair.
which might also be a re-registration kasi it needs a positive act from the voter eh. Yan ang problem. Even if, and I'm sure yung information na kukunin nyo, baka parehas din sa registration form na napaka basic information po. So, that's a problem, Madam Chair. So, I do not know kasi sa 92 minus 17, di mga 75 countries, ang rule nila, when the country is chosen for internet, everybody will have to use the internet voting. So everybody needs to re-register or enroll. So baka yung 1 million natin, Mr. Chairman, baka bumaba pa, even ano.
Kaya nga yun ang pangamba natin dahil we're embarking on this precisely to expand the franchise. Baka mabawasan pa nga
Tapos, let us say, hindi nakaboto ng one election yung isang OFW natin sa chosen country. Hindi ngayon siya naka-enroll, hindi siya nakaboto nung sa internet kasi chosen yung bansa. You will consider that as his failure, second failure to vote. Gusto naman siya, willing naman siyang bumoto, hindi lang nga siya naka-enroll. Kasi may deadline siguro yung enrollment.
Until even on election day, Madam Chair.
Okay. So, you make it also convenient. So yun lang. But